Please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
A very good morning. Welcome to Chartbusters. Well, things looking good for our markets this morning. We're holding with gains of around 50 points. The rest of the Asian markets as well are holding in the green as we speak. So let's get those markets up. The Nifty is up close to around 50 points. We started off, in fact, with those gains. And then we've seen some marginal profit booking from the top. Asian markets, the Hang Seng as well as the Shanghai market, both of them holding with gains of around 0.3% to around 0.5%. So pretty good going there. What's standing out today is a stark underperformance we're seeing from the mid-cap index. That index is trading in the red with a cut of around 0.4%. But yet, we have more number of stocks that are advancing in comparison to the number of stocks that are declining. Hey, Mangalam, morning.
Hi, Nigel. Absolutely. You said it there. The mid-cap index's underperformance is something that we'll have to watch out for. And as we speak, both the green and the red lines are coming closer. So let's see where they end in today's trading session, especially given the fact that the Nifty has come off from the high point of the day. A couple of stocks which are weighing down on the mid-cap index. In fact, Punjab National Bank, that one should come off for you. Remember Lata saying in the morning that, maybe perhaps not the best day to chase post the capital announcement news. And that stock is down about 7% from the high point of the day, currently sitting at the low point. Apart from that, we have a couple of these other stocks as well. JSPL, Federal Bank, which is seeing some profit taking after the 19% move that we saw yesterday. But first up, all the top stories that we're tracking this morning. First up, we have Zee Entertainment reports a good set of numbers with the ad revenue growth jumping over 22%. That's the domestic ad revenue growth. Positive brokerage commentary boosts the stock.
And Ashok Leyland falls over 6% today despite reporting a big operational beat. Macquarie maintains an underperform rating on the stock, citing near-term demand uncertainty and valuations are expensive. Those are the key concerns.
HDFC twins, both of them in focus, buzzing. The 2,800 crore HDFC AMC IPO will open on July 25th. Price band fixed at 1,095 to 1,100 per share. Also, HDFC Bank, that one raises about 8,500 crores from HDFC Limited.
And the Finance Ministry approves 11,336 crore capital infusion into 5 PSU banks. The biggest beneficiary of the capital infusion is Corporation Bank, followed by Indian Overseas Bank.
Stocks reacting to a strong set of Q1 earnings today. We have 8K Miles, revenues jumped 61%. Jindal Stainless reports sales volumes growth of 51%. And Syntex Industries too reported a good set with revenue coming in at 925 crore rupees. All right, meanwhile, some underperformance from the mid-cap space continues. Hexaware is at the low point of the day. We have Biocon touching the lower end of today's trading session. DCB Bank not doing too well as well. And interestingly, IRB, that one's fell about 4% from the high point of the day. I believe the promoters were buying in the open market.
That's right, Mangalam. That's the disclosure that came out late last evening, that the promoters had bought roughly around 5.8 lakh shares. Need to keep in mind that from April 30th, I think, the stock was at around 286. Couple of days ago, it hit 186, and that's the reason, I guess, the promoters, they came to support the stock. But the screen is telling you that there could be someone large who's selling, and that explains why the stock has come off close to around, I think, 4% from the day's top.
Absolutely. So also watch out for Jet Airways, actually. As we speak, the stock is down about 4% from the high point of the day. Jet Airways, too, is testing the low point of today's trading session. So let's get in Ashwini's word on what he reads of the market so far, especially the underperformance that we're seeing in the mid-cap space. Ashwini, in the morning you said go short at the open. Now there is about 20-25 points on the Nifty that we've corrected from the top. The mid-cap underperformance, that really stands out. Does that mean that there's further lower levels as the day progresses?
See, I would think that the selling at 11,050, 11,070 is now reducing. So we went short in the morning, but now we've actually gone long. And my sense is that if we are not able to take this market, say, below 11,020 thereabouts, buying will return, because if this was a top at 11,050, 70, by now you would have broken 11,000. The market hanging on here looks like it's absorbing supply, and once that supply has been absorbed, we'll be able to move higher, and even the mid caps could move into the green, because today it looks like even bigger stocks like Kotak, HDFC Bank, RBL, IndusInd, Yes Bank, they are on the upside. So this sort of a dip, I would think, deserves buying. If we start to cross 11,070, Then the early morning shorts, which probably came into the system, they will get covered. Maybe even strategic shorts at 11,070 will need to cover. For the moment, it does not look negative to me. Mid caps anyways have fallen for so many days. Even a small pullback could be 5 to 8%. Having said that, India Bulls Housing is a buy with a stop of 1175, target of 1230. L&T Finance is a buy with a stop of 146, target of 158. And Future Consumer is a buy with a stop of 42, target of 49. Couple of stocks, Bajaj Finance and Bajaj Finserv. Whenever these guys tend to make highs, the market seldom has a sustained downside on those days. So my sense is that this is a mild downside where buying should come back.
Okay, all right. Thanks so much for that, Ashwini. Thanks so much for joining in and giving us those trading calls. By the way, keep an eye out on L&T Finance Holdings. That's one of Ashwini's picks. The intraday chart should come up for you on the stock. Let's pull it up. That one, in fact, has seen a sharp uptick in the last few minutes. Volumes as well picking up on that front. Ashwini's call is, in fact, that stock looks good to go to around 158 rupees. Stop loss, though, very important, 146 rupees. But it's earnings season, so let's talk about one such company that came out with a set of numbers. That's Indian Metals and Ferroalloys, IMFA, as we call it. That reported a rather weakish set of numbers. It was impacted by a couple of shutdowns that we saw in the past quarter. We're currently joined by the MD of the company, Mr. Panda, who joins us on the phone line. Hi, Mr. Panda. Thanks so much, sir, for joining in. Last quarter, well, it was a bit of a washout because of the shutdowns that we had. But give us a sense. What was the average prices, the realizations on ferrochrome? And what's the price as of now? And your analysis in terms of pricing going ahead?
Good morning, Nigel.
Good morning.
Well, if you actually look at the numbers that we have reported for Q1, the devil sort of lies in the details because what has happened is that yes, the production was affected to a little extent, and so that did have an impact. But actually, if you look at prices, sequentially from Q4 to Q1, it's moved up by around 20% to roughly about 86,000 rupees per ton during the quarter, and that helped boost the EBITDA margins to almost 21%. But actually, what has sort of dragged down the numbers, besides the fact that we lost a little bit of production, is almost 35 crores mark-to-market provision on account of the sharp depreciation of the rupee. Now, ordinarily, that is something that would help us because clearly with a significant portion of our output being exported, obviously rupee depreciation is good, except it happened towards the end of the quarter. So we're taking a provision without actually reflecting, the gain during the quarter. So just looking ahead at Q2, production is going to improve a little bit on account of the fact that the furnace, which was shut down for relining, etc., will be coming back most likely by the end of August. So output will increase during the ongoing quarter. Prices are more or less holding steady, come down a little bit, but all other things being equal, we will, get the benefit of the rupee depreciation in full during the quarter, ongoing quarter.
So, Mr. Panda, you said 86,000 was the price, right?
That's right, and currently, as you would be aware, benchmark prices have settled about 4 cents lower, which was quite positive because initially the expectation was it might drop a little bit more than that. So at the moment, realizations are holding above 80,000 rupees a ton, and that gives fairly good margins.
So in that case, two-part question, Mr. Panda, because you said that the first quarter was impacted by a couple of strikes that took place in one of your plants, the Tirubali unit as well. So two-part question is, one, have all the agitations and all the worries settled out there? And secondly, in that regard, you have some capacity coming on, realignment that you just spoke about. What is your volume target for the remainder of this year?
Okay, so first of all, one clarification, it wasn't a strike, it was an agitation by outsiders with, actually no connection to the area or the company, but be that as it may. It was, we have, of course, been in discussions and with the district administration and clarified our position in terms of what we are doing for CSR, etc. And there we actually have a stellar record. To get to your question about production guidance for the year, we have actually had to obviously tone down our output guidance. So for the year, we are looking at about 220 to 225,000 tons. And the production in Q1 was just short of about 47,000 tons. So that gives you a sort of idea about what we are expecting for the rest of the year, for the 3 quarters.
And the EBITDA per ton that you would expect, primarily because, you said the realizations have improved. Also, there is some benefit that you'll get from the rupee. So what kind of EBITDA per ton are you working with?
See, that's a bit of a difficult question to answer, for the simple reason that if you look at the past 5 or 6 quarters, we have actually seen very sharp volatility, which is honestly not something that I've seen in the 25 years that I've been involved in the business. But broadly, prices. We're finally, I think, starting to see the price swings narrow. And of course the rupee depreciation comes into play in a positive manner. But what it looks like at the moment that we should be able to maintain a EBITDA margin of 20% or better.
So around 16,000 rupees on a per ton basis.
There and thereabouts, yes.
Okay, all right. I want to talk about business as well, sir. But the Odisha government, they had levied various fines on a lot of miners in Odisha. Let's do more business for the country, and we all hope on that front as well. So we'll keep an eye out on that. But we have the management of IMFA with us. Sorry, Mr. Panda, that we had to keep you waiting. But we were talking about your business, sir. You were telling us that 100 crores odd is the fine that's been levied on you all, and that matter is in court. So let's keep that aside. Wanted to ask you, your current capacity is what, around 270,000?
Yes, the current capacity is 275,000 tons.
Okay.
And we initially had a guidance of roughly about 240 to odd thousand tons, which we have had to scale down in terms of the the disruption, the brief disruption.
Okay, all right. The reason I ask you that, Mr. Panda, is because I want to know whether or not you're looking at any any companies that could be on the block. I've heard various reports. A lot of companies are on the block in our country itself. Are you looking at any of them? Is there a possibility of some inorganic growth?
There certainly is the possibility of inorganic growth. As you would be aware, fortunately or unfortunately, quite a few companies in the sector are, have stressed balance sheets and are, undergoing liquidation provisions or under IBC. So we are looking at that. But as you would know, this is a sort of an ongoing process, and so we are, we're waiting and watching.
So could Ferro Alloys Corporation or could Balasur be potential targets for you?
I would not like to comment on any specifics that wouldn't be appropriate.
Absolutely.
But I would say that we have the advantage of not only being fully integrated, but a very strong balance sheet with a debt equity at the moment of 0.56. So that that really.
What's the exact debt on your books? What is the exact debt on your books?
The debt on the books now, long-term debt is about just short of 650. It's come down by more than 110 crores
and working capital
to last year. Working capital will be I'm not sure of the exact number at the moment, but probably around 150 or so.
Okay, all right. Thanks so much, Mr. Panda, for stopping by and giving us all those details. All the best for the remainder of this year. Well, on that note, slip into a short break. You come back, we'll get you another company, Nucleus Square. The management will be talking to us in terms of the first quarter numbers. Stay with us.
Doing okay for the markets. A couple of stocks hitting highs of the day, but the Nifty is still holding around that 11,050 mark. So let's get in some corporate voices. We have Nucleus Software on the other, which is the other stock on our radar on the back of the first quarter numbers. The numbers were pretty much in line with expectations. To discuss this and more, we have Mr. Dusad, the MD and the CEO of the company. Thanks a lot, Mr. Vishnu Dusad, for joining us. The first quarter started well for the company. The revenue growth was 19.5%. Last year, overall, you did a growth of around 11.6%. Or rather 10.6%. So with the momentum that you've seen in the first quarter, what can you guide for in terms of revenue for FY19 and what kind of margins?
As a policy, we do not give any guidance, so I would like to excuse myself on that particular question.
Will this momentum sustain then?
Yes, that is certainly our attempt. Our products are gaining good acceptance, and our innovation teams are also working hard to come out with latest solutions. So yes, we do hope that we'll be able to maintain the momentum.
Okay, looking to maintain the momentum, so we'll keep an eye on that front. But what about your margins, sir? I remember we spoke to you a few quarters ago, maybe around 5 quarters ago, if I didn't get that wrong. Your margins were around 11%. Now it's jumped up to around 16.5%. What's the number that the street can work with?
Again, I would not be able to.
So give us some guidance at least.
But yes, I'm sorry, we are very clear about that. We do not want to give
Okay, all right. So you have done around 19% in the first quarter, right? So for the year, it is safe for us to assume at least double-digit growth. That is you can at least tell us that. And margins, can we work with plus 100 and minus 100 basis points from here?
No, I think, again, we are heading in the same direction. That is the last thing we want to discuss, actually.
All right, Mr. Dusad. So let's discuss your business itself. I believe roughly 80% of your revenues comes from services, 20% comes from products. How is that mix likely to change going forward?
It's the other way around. Okay. Around 75% come from product and related services, and 25 to 30% comes from pure services business that we have been doing earlier.
And where do you get more margins, sir?
We have similar margins in both the businesses. The first kind of business, that is product business, it requires substantial investments, and it's a relatively longer term business. So because of that, the margins are lower there. And our services business gets decent margins. So both the businesses have similar margins.
Okay, all right. Let's try this one then, sir. What's the current cash in your books? Your market capitalization, as I look at it, is around 1,070 crores. What is the cash in your books?
Around 500 crores.
500 crores. What do you intend to do with that, sir? Because 50% of your market capitalization is available in cash. Can your shareholders hope, all of them are looking at you, can they hope that you return some money to them, maybe a buyback, maybe a dividend? Or is there a possibility of you going out there and doing some inorganic acquisition?
Possibility of inorganic or acquisitions used to be there. Now it seems to be coming down, but we are looking at, acquiring some additional campus for our growth.
All right, just so quickly, sir, before we let you go, the order book stands at what, sir? Before we let you go, the order book stands at what?
It's around 360 crores.
All right. Thanks a lot, Mr. Dusad, for joining in. We will keep an eye out on these numbers. Just watch out for the markets. The mid-cap index has extended its cut now in excess of 0.75%. Ashok, Leyland is the one which should come up.
Both the managements we had today, they're saying there's a possibility of some inorganic growth. So we'll have to keep an eye out on both those.
Keep an eye out on the mid-cap index. Just for right now. All right. With that, we'll wrap up, or rather, we'll take a short break. Come back. We'll get you more on the markets on the other side.
Well, it's only Wednesday, but United Spirits, that stock is suddenly under some pressure. It seems to have knocked out. It was holding in the green at the start of this hour. Now it's lost close to around 3% in this hour itself. You have Bank of India as well that's coming for selling pressure. And as Mangalam said, Lata had warned us this morning that be careful. Some of these stocks, chasing these PSU stocks, may not make you too much of money. PNB has moved to the low point of the day. So I think we should get that one as well up for you on the screen.
Absolutely. Nigel, you spoke about United Spirits. I'll have to bring the other counterpart as well. United Breweries at the low point of the day. So, well, on that note, we'll have to wrap Chartbusters. Stay tuned to CNBC TV18. Trading Hour comes up next.